to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
I don't know where to begin today. Do I begin with, well, I mean, all of it would stem from the weekend. Really?
Shit.
Yeah. Do you start out with the sad dad news or do you start out with the other stuff?
Go sad. Hey, welcome.
I mean, it's not sad dad news, but the...
And then, and welcome to Sad Dads Club podcast episode. God damn it.
I think it's 326.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
326.
Yeah.
I'm Lord Foo.
I'm Jim.
Hey, man.
Hey, we're living the I have a dream. Sort of.
A dream?
A dying dream.
A lucid nightmare?
Jesus. I had a very busy weekend. I had lots of, I feel like I've just got way more chores, like not chores, but projects.
Yeah.
That are on my plate that like at some point you just got to start somewhere and just go after them.
Yeah.
One of them was, we have a drainage, like corrugated black piping.
Yep.
That was on the left side of the house that carries water from the backyard and from the downspouts on that side of the house all the way out to the front.
Right, because you have a cinder block wall
on the back side
that effectively kind of
would dam anything.
Right.
Yeah, you can't get... I mean, I guess you could go under it. I thought about it a couple times.
Well, actually, that's where I was going to go. Like, does anywhere along that wall have like an outlet?
No, it's like I would have to bore a hole under the wall.
You would have to go under the wall.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then somehow insert a pipe into it.
Well, I mean,
I have two kids, so I know how that works.
I know how.
Yeah.
You'd have to punch a hole in it.
So a long time ago, way back when I was much younger, I put a corrugated pipe in with a drain in the yard, and then the downspouts go right into the same pipe.
Right.
And that pipe over the years has gotten tons of gutter debris that flows out of the gutters and down the downspout and it right into the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And then also shit just from in the yard because there's tons of leaves back there.
Right.
And that thing got clogged. So I had found on Amazon that you can buy like a pressure washer hose with a bunch of like attachments that go on the head that like spray and you hook it up to your pressure washer and then you just send it up the pipe and it cleans the pipe out.
Yeah.
Oh, worked like a dream. It was totally fun.
Yeah.
It was work. I was working, but it was kind of cool to see it actually do the thing. And, it has like, I think it came with like 5 or 6 different heads. So I threw like 2 or 3 different ones on there and sent it up and like just mud's coming out. And then I go to the back and like run it down from the back, and because the downspout pipe was like really full of mud, like you could see it all the way to the top.
Okay.
To the point that I had disconnected it from the downspout, and so I just run it down that one and clean it out, and then run it back up from the back, and then run it back from the front a couple of times, and just kind of pull all of the stuff out the front. And I did. I had like a wave of mud flow coming out the front, and now it's all clear, and it will never get rain again now.
Right, we're done.
You know what?
The party's over. Wait, where does the outlet come out in the front yard?
It comes out above the grass, right at the corner of those boxwoods on the left.
Okay.
So it comes out right where the corner of the property is there.
Oh, okay.
Or not
so
the property,
not all the way to the sidewalk.
No.
But near your porch, the corner of your porch.
The front left corner of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it runs down like the side of the house where the sidewalk is and under the fence.
Right.
And then just comes out.
Oh, okay.
It comes out where those bushes are on the left side. There.
Left side.
Yeah.
It's
Above
like where you store your garbage cans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I was thinking Melly's side.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking.
That one runs clean. Every time it rains, that thing is just flowing water out. So I know that one's okay. So I didn't bother to run the hose up to it.
Yeah.
Up through it. But it was those little pressure nozzles and I was a little bit worried about, is my pressure washer going to have enough pressure?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was 2,300 pounds. And
but it's different when you're rotor-rootering, not shit.
Oh yeah.
Right? You're like, yeah, let's
well,
and you're like, yeah.
The smell.
Yeah, but you're not, you know.
Yeah.
You're not like, am I going to get
God.
plungered
splashback?
You know.
Do I need a face mask?
Right, as opposed to like, oh, this is the mud tunnel.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, I got muddy. Splash.
Yeah, I was pretty wet by the time I was done. Of course, I also tried to use the same hose in the front gutter there above the garage.
Yeah.
Because that guy gets clogged with leaves from the back.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't really work, and it just made a mess. So I ended up cleaning that gutter out my normal way, which is to scoop and chuck it out,
right,
and then spray it out.
Yeah.
So I did accomplish those couple of things. But the pressure washer bit, man, there's something satisfying about.
Yeah.
Like you feel it hit stuff, and you're like, oh, and then you kind of give it some turds, and it's shooting like the
it's
head.
Like a wobble bit head?
Well,
or is
it's a solid jet, but it shoots a straight stream ahead to break up stuff.
Right.
And then it has like 5 streams that come out the back.
Okay.
So the head's blasting away, and then the streams in the back are shooting it so it'll wash it back.
Okay.
So you'll feel it hit, and then you kind of give it some like thrust, the back and forth thrust,
right,
and it kind of breaks up the stuff, and then all of a sudden whoosh, it just goes right through, and you're like, oh, and you know that happened like multiple times as I'm going through the hose, and then by the last time it was completely free, and you know, I wish I had a camera to send up. That would have been fun.
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
colonoscopy.
Yeah, that's how you make YouTube channels and make all the big bucks.
Yeah, well, part of the reason that even made me think I could do that was. On YouTube, there's a dude in Australia.
Yes.
Have you seen him?
Yes.
Yeah, and he's got the crazy bullet one, and it's like, and he's got the truck mounted pressure washer.
Yeah.
And he just sends that thing up there.
I have a hard time. I like watching his like residential stuff.
Yeah.
I have a hard time watching like the commercial restaurant stuff where it's like
it's full of fat and grease.
Yeah, that as someone that's worked, you know, because that's there.
Oh yeah,
you know it's there.
Absolutely.
Like anyone that's cleaned a grease trap or and so you're like looking at some Chinese food business that's been in place.
They just are no longer draining
for 30 years, and he's like, well, it cost me cool meat. It's got all fucking backed up, and you're like, okay.
Oh,
and he's like, and just this
congealed,
burbled bricks of fucking lard and shit is coming out. It's a hard like.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. So that's the guy that made me think, oh, I could just get a little kit for my pressure washer and clean the gutter out.
So did it come with the hose?
It was like 50
and
feet
nozzles?
of hose,
okay,
a bunch of nozzles, like 2 wrenches for tightening things. It came with Teflon tape, a pair of gloves, a towel for wiping the hose down.
Oh, wow.
Like it was like this whole kit. And I was like, yeah. And it was only like, I don't know, $38 or something.
Something to store it in, or is it now in a stack of Dad's piles of stuff that will get lost as soon as someone moves something?
It might have come with a bag.
Oh, there you go.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing it. Otherwise, it probably would have gone in the bag.
Okay.
But I thought there was. I don't have to look.
Okay.
But Chandler was like, oh, I could use that for my shower. I'm like, yeah, I'll let you use it on your shower. I don't want to come over and do your fucking shower.
Yeah, I don't need to see that.
Because I don't want to do my own shower, let alone yours.
No.
I don't know what the hell you guys are doing in your shower. So
no.
Yeah.
Dad doesn't need to see that. No, absolutely. Have fun.
And Nicole's got very long black hair, and that's I don't want to see that coming out of the drain.
Yeah, I don't need. That's a horror film, man. No, absolutely fucking not.
The horror part of that is like the white guy that says, "I'm going to clean this drain." And everyone in the audience is like, no, don't clean the drain.
Yeah.
And he just does it.
Don't look right down in it.
Yeah.
What? Why not?
Exactly.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So I feel like, sure, you can use the hose as long as it comes back clean.
Yeah. Use the fucking towel on the hose.
So that was kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
And then so that was on Saturday. And then on Sunday, I was all geared up to wash the car. And I have to admit, I got a little upset because I had my car's in the shop. The Cadillac,
Okay, you did.
The Cadillac got dropped off last Thursday. Guess what? Haven't heard a fucking word. It's almost a week later. Cadillac's in the shop, so we got 2 cars. Shan's car is filthy. Mellie's car sits outside, so it's filthy.
Okay.
And I decide on Sunday I'm going to wash cars. So Shan's car gets put in the driveway, and I've got the bucket out. I literally have a cup with the measured amount of ounces that I need for my bucket.
Right.
And it is full of soap, and I'm getting ready to make the concoction for the soap bucket.
Okay.
And Chandler comes by,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it's like, we're going to go. Mom's going with us to the shooting. And I'm like, wait, what? You know?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, no one's even said a word to me. I'm out here working.
Right.
And suddenly
everyone's going to do a thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, huh? So I was a little upset, which put me in a
semi-irritated
mind.
You're on the
set.
chip.
Yeah. I'm a little irritated. And I'm like, I guess my time's not important.
Right.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
But we decide we're going to go. And at first it was just like Shanna was going to go. And I was just going to go and watch.
Okay.
I will say this. I've never shot a gun. I've never pulled the trigger on a firearm ever.
Okay.
That was loaded.
Or
even otherwise.
I mean, never held a firearm.
I have held one, but I have never fired one.
Okay.
Chandler, he has stuff. Here, hold this. I'm like, what do I do with it? I'm like a 10-year-old with a baby. Like, it's going to shit on me? Is it going to blow my face off?
Right.
Here, have it back.
Right.
I don't know a lot about guns other than violence.
Like Luke Skywalker and the lightsaber and looking right down it. And in New Hope, like, what's this? It's a laser sword.
Right.
And everyone just makes fun of it because he looked right down the hilt of the light. Anyway.
And his finger wanted to touch the button.
And then the
then
movie's
it's
over.
over.
Roll credits.
Yeah.
George Lucas. Da, 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 da. Okay.
So I'm like, okay, fine. So I literally just leave all the shit sitting in the garage with the cup with the soap in it. And we go to Chandler's house and pick up stuff. And then he's like, follow us. It's in Lincoln. So fine, whatever. We drive up to Lincoln.
Okay.
And the place is called Coon Creek.
Oh, no.
And immediately I'm having a moment where I'm just like, first of all, a little irritated.
Right.
Maybe a little more irritated.
Okay.
And then I'm like, God damn, I'm at Coon Creek.
Right. With firearms.
And as you pull up next to it, I'm looking to the left. Oh, it's right here. They're shooting towards the road.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? They're shooting towards the road.
Okay.
So this was a thing, right? I didn't know. I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
So we pull up, we get out of the car. He unsocks. He's got these like cool socks that go over the shotguns. He pulls those out, grabs.
So wait, just let me level set.
Yeah.
Shan was going, and she was going to try, or she was going to watch.
She had decided that Chandler had wanted her to go, and she said sure.
Okay.
At some point, sure. She never thought she'd probably ever go.
So he was calling in the card. Hey, Mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
You want to go and shoot it?
We're gonna go. You're coming. Okay.
Right. Okay. All right. Okay. Carry on.
And so Shanna, Melanie, and I all went.
Okay.
And I didn't expect to be shooting at all.
Okay.
Because I just thought I was going to go watch Shanna.
Right.
Maybe so I could point and laugh.
I'm not going to get to wash a car, so I may as well go watch.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So we walk up, and I don't know anything about this. It feels like a driving range, a golf driving range.
Right.
There's like a little. It almost is like a golf club where you go check in to play a round of golf, but you don't go check in. You just walk up, and then they have stations all along this thing that have 5 speakers.
Redneck Top Golf.
Yes, 5 speakers at each station.
Mm-hmm.
They look like speakers, but I guess they're microphones.
Okay.
And like out in front of the speakers, there's like a brick box, and that's where it shoots the
clay pigeons
out.
Okay.
I've never been there. I don't know. I've seen it on TV. You know what I mean?
Like I've never been to any of the ranges in the area.
Okay, I have no idea. And so he gets Shanna all set up like straight out of the gate. We get there, and he goes out there, and he's giving her pointers, and she's out there with the 12 gauge.
Okay.
And the speaker, or it looks like a speaker. It's a microphone. You say pull, and then it hears you, and then it releases a pigeon.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's how it works. But if you talk a bunch, it'll misread that.
Okay.
And it will just like
launch when it hears a
wasting pigeons.
Right.
Right. And then they don't like that because it's extra money. So she goes out and shoots 25, like a box of 25.
Okay.
And what you normally do, I guess, is you start in one of the spots, and then you shoot 5, and then move to the next, and move to the next. So you hit all 5 positions and shoot 5 at each one. So you're sort of surrounding the box that shoots the pigeons out.
Okay.
And so
she shoots her 25.
She shoots her 25. I think she hits 2.
Okay.
Hey, first time she'd ever done it. I don't know.
And she's never picked up, pulled the trigger of a gun?
She has shot a 12 gauge on the farm property in the Midwest back in the day. Knocked her on her butt.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
So
she has a very limited fringe amount of experience, but that is more than you.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so then he's like, Dad, you gonna go? And everyone's looking at me, and I've got my AirPods in because you got to wear hearing protection. There's a tournament going on, like pow, 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 all the time.
Right.
And so I can barely hear my own, like, I can barely hear anything. If someone's talking around me, the AirPods are very good at blocking out sound.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? You want me to go? All right. Sure. Yeah, I'm here. I guess I'll do it.
Sure.
So he's like, which one do you want to shoot? And he's got 2 guns there. I don't fucking know shit about anything.
Right.
I don't know. What should I use? I don't even know.
One that will hurt me the least.
Yeah, I guess. Sure. I do have a bruise.
I was going to say, you probably...
I got a little bruise.
It's hard to walk away from that.
It's right here.
Yeah.
Just a little tiny dime bruise. But so we go out there, and I'm like, dude, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. And he goes, that's all right. All right. So the gun's empty.
You're white, Dad.
I have like
naturally.
Yeah. Yeah. The place is called Coon Creek, Dad. So I have a belt on with like my shots or all the shells are in a box in the belt, like it's made to hold the box.
Right.
And we walk out there, and he's like, "Okay, this is the safety. This is how this works. What you're going to do is you'll see the chamber's like completely empty kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. You're just going to put a shell in there, and you're going to hit this button, and that will load it."
Okay.
So it's a semi-auto 12 gauge is what he calls it. Okay. He goes, keep your finger above the trigger until you're ready to fire. And he says, when you're ready, just go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I go, okay. So I fucking load the shell, and I hit the button and does the thing. It just,
mm-hmm.
Put it up, and I'm like, okay, the sight, like figuring out how the sight works with the barrel.
Right.
Okay, I see. And I'm like,
you're like, I've done Call of Duty. I've picked up a shotgun. I know how. Right?
and I'm fucking terrible at that, right? So I pull, and the thing comes up, and I go boom, and I hit it.
Nice.
And I'm like, did I hit it? I don't. And he's like, well, yeah, what the fuck? He was like all irritated. I'm like, okay. So it ejects the shell. So the chamber's open.
Right.
You stick a new shell in and hit the button. You do the thing again. Pull.
Right.
Hit it again. I hit 6 in a row.
Oh, there you go.
First 6 shots I ever took.
Nice.
And then out of the 25, I think I hit 16.
Well, good for you. Fucking A.
Now, I will say the kickback was more significant than I expected.
Okay.
So the first couple of shots, like I didn't have the butt of the gun up against my shoulder quite enough.
Okay.
So it had more room to really get me.
Sure.
So those first couple of shots, I was like, fuck, that, it hurt.
Yeah.
But then I was like,
without knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a steep learning curve of like bracing. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull, I'm going to pull, something is going to happen, but to what degree is a fucking, well, I don't know.
And then it was just a little like after I finished, I was kind of like, oh, that hurt. Like the first couple shots were the ones that hurt.
Yeah.
And like I said, you move around to all the speakers so you get different angles.
Mm-hmm.
So I did pretty good for my first try. I think 16
job.
out of 25 is not terrible.
Yeah.
And then Melanie went and she hit like 10 or so.
Nice.
It was kind of interesting to see her out there doing that.
Yeah,
I never would have thought I'd ever see that.
Yeah.
But I will say this. It's sort of like going to Topgolf. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating to me is, and I never expected it is a shotgun blast. So it's little balls that...
Right.
Now, the reason why you're shooting towards the road is because those don't go very far.
Right, yeah.
They only go, X number of feet.
Yeah.
And you can see them when they come out the barrel. It looks like a blurry bullet.
Yeah.
Pot of bullet.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, when you miss, it, like, sort of comes towards the pigeon and, like, goes away.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird. You're like, oh, that was pretty close. You know what I mean? You can see
it's a big enough wad
that you can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a blurry black wad coming out.
Yeah.
But when you hit the pigeon, it scoots off one way, or it explodes completely, or pieces fly off, or it spins out. Really interesting. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
If you go a bunch, it could be expensive, especially, man, guns are not cheap.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that one that I think I was shooting, I think he said was $2,000.
Wow.
That's a lot.
What was the other gun, did he say?
The other gun was, it's a double, it's a stacked.
Okay.
So it's got 2 barrels, one on top of the other. It is lighter than the one that we were shooting, which means it has more kickback. And that's the reason why you had to shoot the semi. I'm fine with, I don't know, whatever. None of it makes any difference to me at this point.
Do you know roughly how expensive it was?
For us to shoot, I think it was 5 of us, and I think, was it 5 of us? Because Nicole was there too. And man, she's pretty good.
Yeah.
She hit a lot of, I was impressed.
Really?
Yes.
Good.
I think it was like $68 or something for all of us to do a round.
Well,
and then like $10 a box for the ammo.
Yeah.
Plus owning the weapon.
Right. Yeah.
And then the time involved because you got to clean it after you're all done.
Sure.
That kind of stuff. But it was pretty fun. I'd go again. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know anything about it, but it was fun to just
shoot shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of my experience is all straight up redneck
shooting at cans and shit.
Yeah. The like 22s, not a lot when we were up in the country. Like I was still probably just a little bit too small. I never really fucked around with the shotguns. I think a handful of maybe an outing where I would have popped off like a couple shots of a shotgun. The stuff that my dad and my grandpa had were the ones that, like, I was a thin, underweight kid anyway. So, like, my dad was effectively like a bull, and my grandpa was the same way. So the guns that they had of that era, decades and decades back, like, I fire the gun and I have to take a step back because it's like, it's big boy shit. And I'm like, well, no. I was more than happy with like 22 and like shooting cans at like various distances. But a lot of it was straight up 100% BB guns. And the funny thing with BB guns was it was always this went on for years as like we never really shot squirrels or groundhogs or anything like that, rats or anything like that. It was straight up Grandpa would shooting cans. It was shooting cans. And in the early years of like shooting the BB gun, it was you shoot and I don't know where the BB went, and you didn't
hit the target. So where did it go?
And then Dad or Grandpa would be like, "You're a little to the left," and I'd be like, I don't know. How are you doing? He's like, "You'll start to see the BB eventually," and I'm like, "Man, a year into this, and Dad, I want to go pump up the BB gun, and I'm going out shooting." The BB gun was one of the things that, no matter what, I didn't have to get permission to go shoot as long as I was shooting it at the hill and at cans and no one was downrange.
Right.
So I would go after school, get the BB gun, BB's in it, and start shooting it. I think like a year into it, I think I saw a BB come out and I saw it the entire time go right. And I went, and it was finally my eyes had been able to train fast enough to catch.
Yeah.
And then it was over because then it was like dead nuts. Anheuser-Busch seal, like their little crest or whatever it was. Dead nuts, Budweiser can. Dead nuts. Because then I could see like, I'm too far to the right. Fix the sight. Bink, bink, bink. But when you can finally see it, I could never do that, not even close with the 22. But the BBs was one of those things where it was like, oh, fucking that's crazy.
I think with the shotgun shells, it's like the shots are so slow because it's a pack of BBs piling out.
Oh, yeah.
There, right?
Yeah, I'm sure.
They're super easy to see. I did not, even from where we were, like they were out shooting and we were standing at the fence watching.
Yeah.
Even from there, I was like, oh shit, you can see the shot.
Yeah.
And like it surprised me that you can see the shot that easy. Yeah. Like, and I didn't even have my contacts in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh damn, I can see the fucking shot.
Like I could track that. Yeah.
And then I think even when I was shooting it, to some degree, it was sort of like pull the trigger with the eyes closed kind of shit.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know, I didn't know what to expect really.
Sure.
You get used to it the more you shoot it, of course. But like the first couple of shots, it was sort of like little flinch action because I didn't know how bad it was going to be or whatever.
Yeah.
The real bummer was how much it hurt my shoulder the first couple of shots because I didn't have. Yeah. I told Melanie, I said, this was my first time, and the only advice I'm going to pass to you before you go out and shoot is put the butt of the gun up to your shoulder a little harder than you think you need to.
Right.
So you absorb more of and you don't bruise yourself. Now, both the girls had sore arms the next day, and I was like, no, I'm fine. I do have that little bruise right there.
Right.
And that's tender if I touch it, but like my arm itself didn't really hurt.
So I would presume that Chandler and Nicole, their shoulders were fine because they shoot more frequently, or no?
I don't think Nicole has shot a bunch. I think that she hadn't shot for a while, was my understanding.
Okay.
I don't know what her arm was like afterwards, but he was saying that he'll get sore. When he first started shooting, he wouldn't shoot that much.
Mm-hmm.
And his arm would get sore. He says, but now that I'm shooting a little more here and there, it gets less and less sore.
My dad has been a gun guy as long as I've been a son, and he'll go dove hunting every year, every season with my uncles down south. They'll go to Arizona, and it's either pheasant in South Dakota, or most of years it's dove hunting down in Arizona.
I don't want to shoot animals.
He is.
I don't.
Well, I mean, they eat it, right? It's not for sport, and then you leave a carcass. They like a chicken. They'll prepare it so everyone goes home with meat.
Yeah.
To be consumed. As a gun person, like I think he's now crested the point to where one, he's not shooting as much, but he's at 70 plus. The modern guns that he has are now doing a number on his shoulder, and he doesn't get the entire he won't spend like the whole day hunting like he used to, because even as someone who knows exactly what's going to happen, it's starting to get too much for him. But I don't know. I mean, it's weird. Like I have no care or concern about gun ownership as long as you're doing it the right way. But I don't know. He has a good collection of guns. In every one of my aunt and uncle's house on my dad's side, including my grandpa's, everyone had a gun cabinet. It was just one of those, and it was like, as a young person and teenager, guns, before it started to become probably more of a significant issue than it is now. But every one of my aunt and uncle's houses had guns, and it was just kind of like, and then when it was probably an interest that may have tickled the fancy, I was into computers, and it was like
out of the mind.
It's not an interest to me anymore. Like,
I have zero interest in guns, like literally none. And
I have never been hunting. I've never hunted deer. I've never hunted elk or bear or anything like that. I've never shot something for food. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I would do it as long as it was something that I'm hunting for food for me. Like, I don't separate that too far from raising pigs and cattle that we had done through, my young years up here in the county. Raised pig, butcher the pig. Raise the cow, you butcher the cow. I've been there when all of those events have happened. It's just like one of those things. Was I the one actually, terminating the cow or pig? No, but I've seen the brutality part of the butchering of something that then went to food. Not opposed to it, but I don't necessarily, it's not something I'm seeking out. If my dad or Venus's dad came to me and said, we're getting together a trip to go elk hunting in Alaska, I would go. Would I drive the need to drop an elk? Not necessarily, but I would go, and if the opportunity arose, then I would not hesitate.
I wouldn't.
Really?
No.
Not for you?
When we were kids, my brother, I don't know whose it was, there was a pellet gun at the house, and it might have been his. He was fucking around with it. We were in the backyard.
Yeah.
And a bird landed on the back fence, and he shot it. And that really bothered me.
Oh.
So it doesn't excite
you'll
me.
Fix it. Nice.
It doesn't excite me to go shoot.
So I would put that though in an unnecessary
yeah. Well, I mean, it was just kids fucking around, but
right.
That it was like, oh man, I can't believe you just killed that bird for no reason.
Right.
Kind of
fishing.
Thing.
What about fishing? Like fishing to catch a fish, like a trout or a salmon.
Yeah, we used to fish all the time.
Okay.
Never caught anything.
Right.
But I never kept fish either. They would go back in the water. So is catch and release fishing.
So I think, I think there's I couldn't deal with that either. And we've talked, this was probably a month or so ago. I had a rat trap underneath Meemaw, and it accidentally caught a squirrel.
Oh, I hate that.
So the squirrel wasn't in the trap, but it was clear that the bar had clobbered it, and it didn't insta-kill it. It was clearly suffering, but not dead. It was not dead.
Yeah.
That hurts me because that was not an intended target.
Yeah.
It didn't need to. That was not what I was going for.
Yeah.
That hurts me. Like,
I feel that.
I would not. The squirrel was not irritating me in any way, and yet passively and accidentally, something that I did not intend to lose life, lost life.
Right.
And then obviously it's in pain, it's suffering. So then I had to manually quickly end it, because I'm not going to leave it there to So that frustrates me, and I separate that kind of unnecessary, whether it was gun or otherwise, to an animal that I can't use in some other way or don't need. It doesn't need to be done. I separate that from hunting and fishing, not for sport,
right?
For food.
We were working on our backyard early. I want to say it was the summer of the pandemic. We were putting a brick patio in and like doing some work in the like replacing the sod and that kind of stuff. Mm. And the old sod, when we had started digging up the old grass, the sod has that mesh,
the net,
mesh.
Yeah.
Well, there was some of it that had just stuck up out of the ground. I don't think much about it, but we get pigeons in the backyard.
Oh. Yeah.
And one day I was doing some stuff in the backyard. I came around the corner, and there was a pigeon stuck in one of those. And that's a human fuckery thing, right?
Oh yeah.
And I felt so bad for it that I, crept up on it. So I didn't want to scare it to make it flop around.
Right.
I didn't want it to get more hurt, and I undid its little foot from the being caught. Yeah. And he flew away, and I was like, damn, I hope he's okay.
Right.
I don't eat elk. I don't eat deer.
Right.
So it's like I would have a hard time just going and shooting one, even though it was for food.
Right.
I don't think it's very sporting from a human standpoint to be like, hey, deer, I'm 150 yards away with this shotgun with a scope, and you're just eating and I'm going to take you down.
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
I agree.
Yeah.
There are some modernizations that would feel icky to me.
Yeah.
Some of these retreats where you're, they're almost teeing you up for. It's not a hunt; they're freebies. Those I have hard times with. Like you're paying an extra amount of money, and hired hands are, like almost chumming the water, so to speak, for
right.
for a wild animal to give you a shot.
Yeah.
Like those type of excursions. That's why I like fishing.
Yeah.
Sure, is there modernizations in fish finders and lures and scentings that may, some hunters may have like for like examples of? Sure, but it's a hook and it's bait and the ocean. No one's netting. When I go out deep sea fishing, I'm not dropping a hook or a thing into a net.
Right.
It's
literally luck of the draw.
Wild lands that have fences and perhaps have been seeded with bears or elk or deer or something. Ah, man, like these guys that go out to go abroad to shoot a fucking lion or a something, some sort of massive beast that you wouldn't otherwise.
An elephant.
Yeah. Something stupid like that. It's like, that's a hard pass.
Right.
That's a hard pass. That's not hunting. If there was a scenario where it was something like that, I certainly would have like prerequisites. Like, I don't want. There's no way to get around the modernization of firearms, but I'm not going to be sitting. I'm not looking for freebies, and it's going to be something that we're not going to walk out of here with a person that shoots a deer each with 2 years worth of food. Like, if someone bagged one, let's walk away because we don't need to be gratuitous about it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I just have a hard time with the just killing something. It's just like
fishing. Good. Just go fishing.
Catch the fish. I unhook the fish. It's alive. I put it back in the water.
Oh, you could do that?
It lives another day.
Yeah, sushi is pretty good, though.
I mean, so this is like, I want to say before 18, because at 18 you got to buy a license to fish, right?
Oh yeah.
So I had a friend of mine in high school that we went fishing all the time. Because we lived down at Lake Natomas and the American River, and he lived very close to the American River and Lake Natomas, and so I would take my stuff, I'd pick him up, and we'd drive and park somewhere, and then hike on down and just go fishing, and we would never catch shit. We never caught anything, but it was fun. We were hanging out with each other and just fishing, and we weren't. If we literally, I don't think we ever caught a thing. But if we had, it would have gone back in the water.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have kept it.
I think the guy who lives in Katie's house, Jesse and I think we caught probably every bluegill 10 times underneath.
They all had hook holes.
Yeah, there's completely just
tattoos.
Yeah, lipped out. Yeah, every bluegill 10 times, and they were all throwbacks.
Yeah,
like no one's taking a bluegill back up to the house to get filleted to eat.
No,
it was just catch. I'm like, fucking, I just caught that one though. It's still got the fucking.
That one has the hook from last time still in it.
It's kind of funny. Lots of fishing. That was all you did in the country.
Yeah,
fucking walk down to the bridge. Throw some marshmallows, Velveeta on the hook, catch a bluegill, throw it back.
Yeah.
Boobs. Playboy. Boobs. Bluegill. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, even we went fishing all the time when we were we'd go to Yosemite for a week every summer. And, grab your fucking tackle box and your rod, hop on your bike, run down somewhere. See what you can get there, sometimes you could see the fish in the water and you're like, come on, man.
It's right fucking there.
Just pick it up.
Look at you, Huck Finn. Good job.
Oh, we used to fish all the time. Now the two notable times I ever caught a fish where I caught on the Kern River one time, a big ass, rainbow trout.
Yeah.
And then when I lived in Southern California, I went fishing with another family that was close family friends. And we went to this lake and I caught a big old catfish in that lake, and they took it. Like the dad of the other, I was there with like Emmanuel was the dad and Steven. And I caught this fish and we went back to Emmanuel's house and he took it. He skinned it and everything.
Like, we're eating this shit.
Yeah, I didn't even get any of the food out of it or anything.
Shit.
Yeah. But Those are about the only times I ever really caught anything that were worth, noting.
Did you have, like, using night crawlers like worms? Did you ever have to put a worm on a hook?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so you're okay.
Yeah,
you're good with squirming on the hook. Okay.
Yeah. And we did all kinds of stuff. Lures, worms.
Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But, I never caught much.
Do you think Melly could bait a hook?
Oh,
Xander. Chandler
probably could. I don't know about Melly.
I
mean, as I got older, it was just not. I have my fishing poles are right in the garage. I mean, I could go grab them and go fishing tomorrow if I wanted to.
Yeah.
It's just not like a desire like it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's sort of like,
I don't think
I gotta have a license now.
I don't know if Piper could. Xander has like I was cutting pork tenderloin last night, so I'm just cutting it into discs because we're making tonkatsu, and
he did not like it.
I'm like, so I'm cutting this, and then I did like a breading station, panko, blah blah blah, and like set it on the plate.
Yeah.
Like, so then we'll stage these here to go into the oil. And he's like, okay, and he just immediately goes and gets the rubber gloves, and I went, if you wash your hands, you can just dunk. And he's like,
oh, he doesn't want to touch it.
He did not want to touch the meat. Didn't want to get it. Yeah. It was like he's like,
my wife, Shanna and Melanie are like that. Big time.
Like a texture thing.
Yeah, they don't meat in general.
Well, yeah,
both of them being vegetarian now. Meat in general, they don't want to touch. Yeah. And in fact, Impossible and Beyond are so much like actual beef to them. Mm-hmm. They don't like touching that either.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Like the simulation is that good.
The simulation is that good. Oh. There are some vegetarian meat products that they can get. We were at Trader Joe's. I'm like, oh look, they have what, I don't know, I forget what it was. They have that. That's crazy. I can't believe you can get that in a vegetarian, know, like a meatless kind of thing. She goes, yeah, I don't know if I could. And I'm like, it's not meat. Like,
right.
It's weird.
Now you're starting to have problems with the
fake meat.
The visual, the fake.
Yeah.
The imagery of a meat product is now distasteful.
And if you've ever seen Raw Impossible or Raw Beyond, they look pretty much just like ground beef.
Really?
It's that good.
That's crazy.
And they don't taste terrible either. So anyway.
Fascinating.
So we had another event happen over the weekend.
Did we?
Yeah. It is changing our landscape quickly.
It's very fast.
There's been a lot of anxiety over the inauguration. Mm-hmm. But I was happy to see today that the ratings were terrible.
Right.
The ratings were like 30% less than the last time he was inaugurated, and 30% less than Biden or something. And I was like, okay, good. All right. That's something.
Mm-hmm.
That's something.
That's why he moved it inside, so that way he knew the pictures were going to be less.
And he's such a petty man. I read a really interesting article. One of the things that he talks about, that he goes on about often, is windmills. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy's deal with windmills?
Right. Yeah.
How could anyone have a problem with electricity generated by by the wind?
I'm curious to know where this goes, because I have a theory.
It goes to, at some point in the past, he bought a piece of land in Scotland.
Yep. Okay. We're on the same page.
And he
wanted
to put a golf course on it.
Yep.
And it's on the coast.
Right.
And he didn't know at the time that the government of Scotland had intended on putting a wind farm right off the coast there.
Right.
So he didn't care for that, because that messes up the look of the ocean.
Sure.
So he started petitioning the government to not put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
and that made him mad about windmills.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So he's angry, and he was upset because they went ahead and went with their plan to put windmills out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wind turbines, really.
Right.
We're calling them windmills.
Right.
And so now he just fucking hates wind turbines.
Right.
And now he'll make up any fucking thing that he can to make them look bad, just like he does with everything else.
Right.
But I just think it's fascinating.
Yeah, so whatever legal reasons he had cooked up for his fight with Scotland,
yeah,
he's hook, line, and sinker, and those are the reasons why he, even if they're
useful,
right,
free,
right,
cheap power,
but he has something rolling around in his head about
how he was slighted by the government.
Property value that is less, and it detracts from the ability for him to sell something because, his golf course can see a wind turbine off the coast.
Yeah. And the article had a picture of, from the perspective of his property with the wind turbines out in the water.
Yeah, was it?
And and so that's what pissed him off. So that's why he hates wind turbines now, which he has already signed an executive order to stop all wind turbine permitting and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, this is like, the dude is lunatic. If you've ever slighted him in the least, he's coming for you, man. He's coming for you. And I can only presume that part of this deportation shit was he hired some people that were not white to work his property, and they did something wrong, and that pissed him off. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where all this stems from, but he's a very vindictive kind of person.
Racist. It probably doesn't have to be slighted. It just probably has to be that's what's needed to.
That's true.
Carry a tone.
Well, I mean, if you look at Elon Musk specifically, that guy's heritage is based in racism.
Right.
His South African heritage is based on apartheid racism.
Yes.
Period.
Did you let me cover did you watch any inauguration?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, so we didn't either, and that was because I was in the yard working anyway and had zero fucks to give. But Venus is like, we're not going to give any ratings ticks to this. I can support the United States, but not support the ceremonial bullshittery that's going to happen here. So he won't get any of our ticks. So for the most part, I was working in the yard.
Same.
All Monday. I know the event is happening. I know the changing of guard is happening. I know what's going on. It's okay. I'm not necessarily missing anything, but so I don't need to see it. There's nothing spectacular for me. I get done in the yard. I come inside, shower, getting ready, moving about the house, tidying up some stuff, and Venus said something like, it was near dinner, and I think she got something either in her friend group or something. She got a notification, so then she's looking at some news thing, and she says, Elon's on stage somewhere giving a Nazi salute.
Yep.
And I'm like, I want to be objective.
It's
the
probably
right. The amount of stuff, even in the last 2 months, with creating pictures with Midjourney, and only getting on the fringe of being able to generate video, there is some crazy close abilities for non-technical people to come up with something, and then you get a compression here and a forward and a recompression there, and the quality fuzzies enough to where you're like,
is it real?
Is it? I don't know. So I was objectively like, okay, sure.
It's probably AI generated.
It could be, but right? I know exactly what you know. Like, it's not 50-50. It's like, without seeing anything, you're like, yeah, but this is like 65-35 actually plausible. And then I move about the house a little bit more, and she's like, oh, here it is. And she shows it to me, and I'm like, okay, so I've seen it. It looks real, and now we're both disgusted. But there is still, now it's like 95.5 where somewhere Tuesday I'll go looking to make sure so that, I'm informed, she's informed. If it was actually a thing and not an AI thing, then I'll make sure we clear it up. And then, but it's rolling around, something that I'm going to have to circle back to because I wasn't watching any news Monday. Tuesday, all that shit starts popping in my feed, and it's not just one. He then turns around and does it again. And I went,
that's it.
So one, it's 100% real.
Yep.
Two, it's not a accidental mistake or a uh-oh, because he then does it.
Or just some innocuous movement that looked like it.
Right. It's not a misinterpretation.
Right.
This is unmistakably,
yeah,
a Nazi salute.
Yeah, and this is someone who is heavily influencing what's happening in the White House.
And even if it is the most distasteful joke on the planet, that's still wrong. It's still fucking wrong.
Yep.
So it's either grotesquely distasteful or it is what it is at its face. The man is a Nazi sympathizer. Like, neither of those,
I think it's both,
are good for the country. Yeah, it could be.
I think
right.
It's both.
Yeah, there's three options there.
Yeah.
Xander ended up seeing it in his feed because someone was making a meme joke about it. So we talked about it there. Piper obviously saw it from Venus, and then we talked about it there. But it was like, fucking A. Well, this is where we are.
I mean, there's so many aspects to what's happening because we see Trump trying to control the media. There's him. He had some sort of case that happened before he was sworn in where he won a case against the Times or something. I forget exactly what outlet it was.
Okay.
It was a lawsuit that I think he filed.
Like a defamation lawsuit?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know the exact details, but he essentially won that case, which is disturbing because this is a news outlet.
Mm.
And so there's now this underlying tone of you'll report what I want you to report and you're not going to say anything negative about me.
Oh, okay.
And so now I have concerns over that kind of stuff.
Sure.
There is stuff happening where he has begun sending home DEI hires, what they're calling DEI hires.
So this is diversity, equality, inclusion.
Yeah, hires.
Okay.
Which I don't know if that's like they actually call them DEI hires or if this is a MAGA term. Like I don't know. I don't know how that works. But they're now going through essentially the government jobs and saying, if you were a DEI hire, see ya.
So I haven't been following that. Would you say that would be akin to someone going through, once affirmative action was put into place, someone then going through once a party changed hands and then going through and saying, you were hired because of your race, color, creed during affirmative action, and now you're gone.
Right.
That is what these diversity, equality, inclusion,
I believe so.
jettisons are. Boy.
So we have that going on, and I'm hearing that even. I don't want to say too much here. I'm not going to say anything about this because I don't want to make anyone get in trouble. but it's very concerning.
Sure.
So there's that aspect of stuff that's going on. You have stupid shit like the windmills. You have the fucking Gulf of America.
Right.
Right. Some of this shit, like, these aren't things that like anyone has thought about ever. I wasn't in third grade and said, damn, one of the biggest problems with my country is that the Gulf of Mexico is not called the Gulf of America. I wish some president would do something about that.
Right.
You know, no one has ever said that.
Right. Yeah. I'm not concerned about Greenland.
Yeah.
You know, these aren't.
Greenland is okay, fine. I don't need to own the Panama Canal, even though we helped build it. That's fine. It benefits the entire world from a shipping standpoint. We have gotten out of it what we should have gotten out of it already.
Yeah.
So, Canada, I mean, come on. I don't understand where some of this shit comes from. It's just
scared white people.
Scared of what?
Anyone
reaping what you sow?
Anyone who's not white, I think.
Canada is full of white people.
They're not full of Americans.
Oh my gosh. This is just, we're in a very weird time. It feels like we have woken up in Nazi America. That's what it has, that undertone to it. Yeah. When you're starting to control the media with threats of, you know, repercussions if you talk badly about me. When you're not allowed to ask critical questions regarding the government and its operation. When you have people who are around you that have more money than anybody else on the planet and have a history and a heritage built upon racism in general, who is somehow tied to the White House and influencing the White House to a certain extent. Man, it's just very, not to mention the TikTok shit. That happened over the weekend too.
Oh yeah.
What happened there? Because like, I still don't, now I'm in a situation where I don't really trust TikTok. Like I got rid of all my Twitter accounts. I still won't call it what that dipshit renamed it. But I deactivated every Twitter account I had, which was 3. I wasn't super active with them. The Sad Dad's Twitter account is gone. I had 2 other personal accounts that were gone, that are gone now. What Musk did with Twitter was terrible. They claim it's all for freedom of speech, but then they control the speech within the platform.
Right.
That's not freedom of speech. And this is what I've said all along, which was, you're on a platform that is controlled by a company and it has terms and conditions that you agree to. So you agree to these terms and conditions in order to use the platform. Now, I don't know how much and in what ways those terms and conditions changed with Musk over the time that he's owned it. I guarantee you they were not even close to being the same as they were when it was Twitter before he purchased it. So Twitter went to shit because that was, I was reading about Twitter and there was a thing posted on Reddit.
Okay.
By a guy who claims to have worked at Twitter during the transition. And he was saying anonymously, because what he's saying is very scathing, that there was numerous changes to the platform to push the right-wing agenda.
Oh, wow.
Specifically. And in specific ways. And that's, you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm just reading stuff that's out there. It's very concerning. Even if it's even partially true, it's concerning. And I'm not saying it is true 100%, but I'm just saying when you start seeing all this stuff happening around you, it starts to add up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just the stuff that I know about.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're just nibbling at small amounts.
So it's been a very tough few days to learn about every little fucking hate-filled change that we're making. And all the rollbacks of, like, I don't understand the whole presidential, like being able to just do a presidential order. Executive order.
Yeah.
And, like, now we can just circumnavigate the election process through the Congress. Like, that doesn't mean anything, I guess. What's the point of having Congress if the president can just sign executive orders? Now, I do understand that some of the shit that he has done with the DEI stuff is part of the 14th Amendment. So some of that stuff won't stick. He's signing shit. It'll go into lawsuits like crazy. I understand that. And a coworker made a point to me, which was interesting, is that we just have to go 2 years, because when the midterms come and people start to realize what fucked up shit is going on, then that's when you can vote out.
I would like to believe in that optimism, but I also believe the optimism wouldn't get him a second time. So that's why it's important to make sure you register to vote.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hope, that at least whatever happens between now and 2 years,
I think 2 years is enough time for people to realize, oh shit, I voted for cheap eggs, and that never happened. Right. And gas is still the same or more or whatever.
Interest rates didn't go anywhere, or they're higher.
I mean, in 2 years, we could see a lot of crazy shit happen. So I think the wake up will begin to happen. I think if enough crazy shit happens in the first 2 years, we might see we could see a significant change in the House and Congress.
Well, the House is already close to being 50-50, if not problematically 50-50.
Or the Senate, I said.
And the Senate, I don't know. I don't know who's coming back up for Senate, and whether or not there would be enough positions that could be turned the other way.
I've never felt this way about politics. I've never seen somebody be able to roughshod over everybody in a way that Trump seems to have been able to. I don't understand it. I don't understand I'm a very logical thinking person. I don't understand the logic behind any of it. Is it greed? What are they getting out of supporting this guy? What's the draw? Is it power? Is it money? Is there something else involved? Like, I don't understand. Is it racism?
Man, what did
Is it all the above?
It was there was a fantastic I can't remember. She's I don't remember where she teaches. Damn it. I'm going to butcher it. What people see in him is an acknowledgement that their fears, knowing that they're in the minority, doesn't make them wrong. So he gives power to the perception that the hate that they have makes it okay. And there are a lot of people here that still hate a lot of things about people that love who they love, and people who have a different skin color, and people who worship something other than they worship, and people who want to live a certain way, and you want to look down on that or demonize that. And the way he speaks, it gives power to those people who think in the minority. You gather up enough minorities, not minorities how we're thinking, but you gather up enough demographic minorities, and all of a sudden you've got enough to tip the scale just enough.
Yeah. One of the things that troubles me is when I hear him say stuff like, you know, they're all coming from the jails from whatever countries they're coming from, and they're coming here to kill. And he literally heard him say this shit. It's fucking bonkers. They listen to some of this rhetoric that comes out of him. He's just making up shit that feeds into the fears of people. He just talks to their fear and like somehow like gives them a reason to have more fear. And it's just like, I can't believe it.
I heard him talking about the TikTok reprieve that he gave. And he's like, I'm going to paraphrase.
He started on the TikTok thing.
It was that the owners called him and told him that TikTok is worth like $1 trillion, but without the reprieve, TikTok is worth nothing. And so he said to something, he's like, he kept putting the number. I was told if we don't undo the ban, TikTok is worth nothing and we can't sell it to anybody. But as long as it's running, it's worth $1 trillion.
Oh.
So he's now looking at it like, I gave you a reprieve, but you can see his next movement. And it was, so to me, that's saying that if I allow it to stay open, that the U.S. should be
monetarily
should be a partner. You owe us half. He's like, so then we should get $500 billion as our part in making sure that it's still open.
In what part of the world where corruption is not the biggest part of some people's world is that okay?
Yeah.
Tell me, in what country?
China. It's good in China.
Okay. The other thing to talk about, and we're probably running long.
We're getting there. Yeah, we're
is there. They went to the inaugural sermon. Did you see any of this?
No, but I've heard something about a bishop.
So Marian Edgar Buddy, so she's the bishop that held the thing, and she basically said, I mean, straight at Trump, essentially, like, give people mercy.
Yes, I believe
this was.
I only know a little bit, but I believe that was her tone. Like, she was trying to encourage him to be merciful on people who didn't share his perspective. But, okay.
From a church standpoint, from all of it, right?
Okay.
Now, the MAGA crowd wants to deport her.
Oh, is she not a U.S. citizen?
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
But it's like, what the fuck? Like, if you do anything, first of all, she didn't say anything hurtful or mean, but Trump has now truth socialed.
Oh, crosshairs kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. The MAGA crowd has called for her to be deported. We got to get rid of her. I mean, now she's put a fucking crosshair on her.
Wow.
It's bonkers, dude.
When she was just trying to encourage tolerance.
Yeah.
Wow. Most unfortunate.
I'm looking at it right now. That's the reason why I know her name, but she's a 65-year-old woman who just stood at the pulpit, and then he comes out and it was a terrible, boring service, and talked about how stupid she was and she doesn't know anything, and in the tone that he does,
right?
And it is
destructive.
Yes.
He's intending to be destructive.
He doesn't tell me when he's ever done anything positive. Because everything that he does is calculated for a benefit. It's not like, well, I'm going to meet with these folks and it's going to be a happy, good time, and I'm the president, and I think they're doing great in the community, and I want to help their cause by throwing some good vibes towards it. No, that is not how he operates. Period. He is not that kind of human. And it is so telling.
Yeah.
When you can rip apart an archbishop.
Yeah. I'm struggling to come up with something that I would consider something of a legacy from his first term, and I cannot. Like
it's all hate-filled.
My instinct is to say that he sustained a par. I'm sure there were probably regulations, and some corporations would probably be happy about his tax policies, but relative to...
But that doesn't show any... There's no empathy there.
Right.
That's just business.
Yeah, there's not a... there's not an uplift of a...
There's not it's not a positivity.
Yeah, it's not a movement of the needle for American pride.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
When I see
term.
Biden like in the crowd shaking hands with people and he's smiling and he is genuinely enjoying being in the moment and greeting people. That's one of the things that he enjoys doing because he's serving those people. Trump is serving himself. He doesn't do that kind of shit. Unless it has unless he can get something out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't see... I guess the peak bar that I would set would be like Jimmy Carter. I don't see in his golden years, once he has served all of the terms, I don't see him doing spending the rest of his life doing a Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, hell no.
Or opening free community golf courses somewhere. I see him.
Yeah.
Right. I don't see an Americana
humanitarian
needle being moved.
Right. None.
That
there is no positive thing that I have seen that has come out of the first term. And so far, every single thing that he has done has been fueled by owning the libs, some feud he has with fucking as he calls them, windmills. You know what I mean? Everything is like, fuck you, and fuck you, and fuck you.
Yeah,
and nothing about any of it is like, oh shit, like our veterans really need our help. They have served this country. No, you'll never hear that kind of talk out of him. Ever. He just doesn't do it. It's
man, that's frustrating. I don't know if I've thought about it. Something that my dad had mentioned. I mean, in the close to the same vein. My dad has conversations frequently with my uncles down south, and they are the other side of the fence to him. And he'll tell me, I was on the phone again with your uncle, and
right,
and I just let him run his mouth, and then I kind of just the latest thing has been the fire. Fuck, we're long. The latest thing has been the fires.
Oh God,
the terrible fires down south, and he
where we got to politicize it.
Right. He's like, your uncle, he's out there like bitching and moaning that Newsom we're not getting water because of that fucking Delta smelt and like the he's the water,
which are direct words from Trump.
Right. Right. And he's like, so I let him run his mouth, and then I'll say something like, well, what has he being Trump, what has he actually done for you? Like, how has your life been bettered when he was in office?
Because now I can hate.
And it's
chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, chirp. And with specifically about the fires and like the old rehashed reservoir water distribution stuff, is there a problem there to be solved? Absolutely. Can anyone move the amount of water in one season or year based off of how the weather works from Northern California to Southern California to abate all wildfires? Absolutely not. It's not humanly possible.
Dude.
So the thing of the conversation that I was telling my dad, I said, the next time you talk to the uncle, blah, 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 I said, keep this in your mind. I said,
don't they live in Palmdale?
Palmdale, Lancaster. Yes. Yeah.
It's a fucking desert.
It's a fucking desert. I said, keep this in mind the next time he's talking. I said, a lot of the perspective that he shares is one that, don't touch me, and no one else deserves these free social things that you've got to solve that problem on your own. You're independent, and nothing of mine should be given to you because you didn't earn it, and your location or your place of choice is on you. Like no free handouts. And I said, so keep that in mind. And then when he says the Northern California people should give the Southern California people water, I said, funny how someone who's very independent and don't tread on me turns to be a socialist and wants socialist things from someone who has stuff.
Yeah.
When they don't have the stuff.
And already we are sending a fucking river of water in the California aqueduct to Southern California every fucking day. There is an entire man-made river.
We can't possibly irrigate and green all of Southern California to abate every wildfire.
But the thing is like, okay, Palmdale, Lancaster, those are desert areas.
Yeah.
The Southern California basin where Los Angeles is also a fucking desert.
Yeah.
Right?
Just a lot of buildings.
Yeah, you've heard of Mulholland, right? He was the guy behind the waterworks programs in the early 1900s for Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he made was a dam that held back a site, like right near, right up the hill from, pretty much off of the Grapevine area.
Okay.
And there was a sizable reservoir there, and the dam failed and killed over 400 people one night. So this is how much water has played an important role in the Southern California area. Mm-hmm. And the people in, say, like the Palisades area, which is like near Malibu,
right.
Very expensive homes. If they didn't have water, some of that's on local planning.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
They have small reservoirs that feed the hydrants and that kind of shit. The fire was so fucking big, they ran out of fucking water in the reservoirs. A reservoir is only going to hold enough water for a few homes. Mm-mm. Right?
Yeah.
When you have an entire fucking hillside neighborhood going up, you're not going to have enough water. And idiots that don't live or has never seen Southern California can't comprehend what living in Southern California is actually like.
Right.
So shut the fuck up if you don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Mm.
Oh, I'm like really fired up.
Yeah.
When people start when I see people bagging on people that live in California, like, oh, fuck California. Motherfuckers. We have the 5th largest economy in the fucking world in this state. Mm. All of the tax dollars that leaves here, almost all of it doesn't come back. It goes to, guess what? The fucking red states that don't have any fucking money and are stupid as shit and voting for Trump. So fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm seriously, it's frustrating.
The compassion and
I wish there was a way
people that don't realize
Yes.
So it was particularly an uncle. And then where my dad gets his hair cut in Grass Valley.
Yeah.
His barber is a MAGA guy.
Hicksville.
And basically was like excited. And my dad he got his hair cut Friday morning, came down Friday afternoon, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, so the barber is coming, and he was like telling me, he was just going on and on and on, and I went, yeah, but what has he done for the middle class? And I went, Jesus Christ, Dad, the man's got scissors to your head.
You're putting a target on your neck.
And you're like, man's gonna, oh, shit, sorry about that, Jim. I nicked your ear.
Oh, your ear's missing.
Like, bold move, Father. And he was like, well, he kind of just fucking stammered for a bit and didn't really know what to say. And I went, well, I'm glad you said something, but I would probably have waited until you got out of the chair first.
Now, real quick, I know we're running long.
Yes.
We have a long friend who is very MAGA, and she complains incessantly. This is like she's a Facebook person. I think she's like in her late 60s, early 70s.
Okay.
Incessantly complains on Facebook about the Dems and she, all of her MAGA friends and if one of these days I'm gonna fucking go off on her because I don't even care. And she'll unfriend me. I don't give a shit. But I'm going to go off on her on Facebook. But what my point is that, what was my point?
You're frustrated. Someone who has the...
While she's complaining about how much better off she was under Trump, is the person who goes to Disneyland several times a year and goes to, in this last year even, and goes on cruises and goes to Hawaii. Like, how is your life shit somehow?
Right.
Because you had to think about there was a gay person near you or how do you give a fuck what happens in that person's life?
You clearly carried on and enjoyed life as it was.
How does anybody else's life affect you? Only if you let it.
Yeah.
Only if you let it. That's what I have to say about that. So,
goddamn.
It's got some pent up hostility. I could probably go on for another hour.
I'm
super frustrated.
Fuck it. Next time we have a politics show, I'll just have lots of data too. I'll be like,
well, I didn't intend to go off. Sorry if I.
No, I'm good.
It's.
I'm good.
I think I needed this. That's all I'm going to say. I think I needed this little vent session. I mean, my wife and daughter are there. We vent with each other, but it's to be able to speak my piece and have it here, I think really does make a difference for me.
Yeah.
So
on that note, you should return the cart.
Register to vote.
I wish I had something prepared for
you should register to vote.
Pay attention to the news. Stay informed. How about that?
Yeah.
Stay informed.
Wash your ass.
Fuck. Stay up to date on your shots.
Wash your hands.
Pick up a broom.
Check your oil, Tony. Make the call if you need to.
We'll catch you next week.
Do the kindness.
Yeah, that one.
Do the kindness.
Most importantly,
return the cart.
I thought I added one in
Did
there.
we say that one?
Yeah, we did that.
No.
All right, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Sorry if I lost my head.
We're down one vote for one listener.
Yeah, we only got 6 listeners.
We know who you were anyway, Ulanzi.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. Bye.
Take it easy.